Yo, what's happening, people? Back again for another stream. What an absolute disgrace that was yesterday. Man United versus Newcastle. You know what? Yeah, I don't know whether to just laugh or just be frustrated. I mean, the team that I said yesterday that Amorim should go with. So let's go through the lineup yesterday. So he had Onana in goal. The three at the back was Lissandro on the left, Harry Maguire in the centre, Matthias de Ligt on the right. And then the two wing backs were Dallo on the left, Mazraoui on the right. And centre mid was Casemiro and Christian Eriksen. And then the two tens was Ahmad, Joshua Zirkzee, who I'll get onto in a minute, and Rasmus Højlund as the striker. So that lineup for me was shocking, and I did say, from the team that I said the back three should have been Matthias de Ligt in the centre, Mazraoui on the left side of the three, and Lenny Yoro on the right side of the three. Reason I went for those three, as I said, is because to counteract Newcastle's threat in the air and their pace as well up top. So for me, Amorim, as I've said in the title, Ruben Amorim Unacceptable. For me, the team selection was unacceptable for me. How you could play that back three that's got no pace. Again, if you look at the two of the goals come from two crosses. And again, Lisandro Martinez at the back post. And I said that'll be a problem in the game because you had Joe Linton, who was going to be charging into the box and has the aerial advantage over Lisandro. And you would have thought as well that they would have targeted that as well in the game, Newcastle. The Alexander Isak goal. Again, people can say, that the midfield were getting bypassed, they were getting passed around. But if you have Mazraoui on that back post and you had the Lenny Yoro and de Ligt in that back three, I believe that goal don't get conceded. And I did say at the start of the game that was going to be a very big issue for United if he didn't pick the correct front three, because it nullifies the pace from Gordon and Murphy on the flanks. And then Isak likes to drift to the left and create space and drive from there. And that's exactly what they did, So Amorim, for me, that team selection there was unacceptable. Again, with Christian Eriksen and Casemiro, again, everyone knows the problems that United have in midfield, and it's a case of United going in the summer or in January is a must, and trying to recorrect that, because let's be honest with you, like that is shocking that midfield there. It's not their fault, and again, this is where I look at as well. If you've got Eriksen and Casemiro in the midfield and they haven't got legs, why not just tell them to just sit, for the first 20 minutes and then have two attacking wing backs. Have an Anthony, who I would have started, as I said, on the right, and then even a Malacia. I know Malacia is obviously defensive, but Malacia, you could have said to him, look, get up and down that wing. Or you could have, even if you wanted to, I don't want to see it, but even if you wanted to play an Ahmad on the right and Ante on the left, but to play two defensive fullbacks as the wing backs and then have Casemiro and Eriksen to give you the legs in the midfield was poor from the manager. There's people out there saying, why should he change from what he's come here to do? Again, I hear that, but it's about adapting. If you've got Casemiro and Eriksen in that team, you don't let them go man for man pressing, because they're going to get bypassed. And that midfield of Joe Linton, Bruno Guimaraes, and Sandro Tonali, they were always going to dominate the midfield of Casemiro and Eriksen, because they're younger, they're fresher, and they're a powerful midfield as well. So for me, for him to play those two and then play two defensive was poor. You should have just let Eriksen and Casemiro just sit in, protect the back three of Mazraoui, de Ligt, and Yoro that should have played, and then have your two wing backs as Ahmad and as Anthony and Malacia, I would have played as bombing on down the flanks, and have Ahmad and Kobe Mino as a 2 10s, and had Joshua Zirkzee as a striker. That's how he should have gone, and that's the team that I said he should have played. And to be honest with you, it was nowhere near the team that I thought he was going to play. And to be fair, it's on the manager for me, and I'm a big fan of this manager, but just like previous managers, Ten Hag, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that was him, they seem to be playing favourites and playing players that are just ain't good enough, and again, it's not time to get pissed off. It's just disappointing because I do think Amorim's a good manager, or a good coach, should I say. But to be honest with you, the Man United lost 5 and 6, and he to be honest with you has to take criticism for that. As much as these players ain't good enough, he's picking certain players in certain positions, and it just ain't good enough, to be honest with you. But what I want to get onto, obviously the biggest talking point as well, is the Joshua Zirkzee substitution. For a start, when I see the lineup and I see Zirkzee playing basically as a 10, now again, this for me is very poor, and I'm going to get onto Amorim and how I feel about what Amorim done with the substitution after 30 minutes. Now, as you know, Joshua Zirkzee, the kind of player that he is, he has like a Dimitar Berbatov, Zlatan Ibrahimovic kind of language style about him. He's not someone that's just going to be running around like a crackhead. Let's be honest. He's someone that you need to play the ball into his feet. In the game yesterday, sometimes his touch was a little bit off, but on the whole, you can trust him to control the ball and play the correct pass. At the moment, obviously, he's low in confidence as well. But to play him in that 10 position when you've got a powerful midfield like that, and Newcastle are a team that, they press, they got high energy. To play him as a 10 in that position is poor, because you've got someone like Rasmus Højlund, and Rasmus Højlund as a footballer is possibly the worst striker in the league as a footballer, But there's one thing that he does do, and that is run. He does run, Playing him in that position, if you want to add a bit of physicality to that part of the pitch and to track back, he would have been more suited to that role than what Zirkzee is. And he could have played Zirkzee as the target man to link the play. So for me, he got that wrong by playing Zirkzee there and playing Højlund as a striker, because Zirkzee's approach play, his link-up play, is miles better than Rasmus Højlund. And Rasmus Højlund is a runner, and he could have done the job that Zirkzee was put in there by the manager. And again, that's a fail on the manager to not identify that, because I would have just looked at both of the profiles of the players and thought, well, Zirkzee is someone that is not really a runner. He's more of a link man. Rasmus is a runner. So play him in that position if you wanted to play both of them together. For me, I would never have played both of them together, especially playing Zirkzee as a 10 in a game like that. If you're playing against a Southampton or a one of the teams at the bottom of the table, you could probably get away with that. But to play that against Newcastle, whose midfield was always going to dominate, and you play the player that isn't renowned for his running, you play him in that position, again, is poor. And what made it even worse is that he took him off after 30 minutes. Again, another shocking decision by the manager, humiliating the guy in front of thousands of fans, making it seem like he's the problem, And what he should have done, Amorim, you get some people out there that will say, if things are not working well, it shows a good manager by taking him off straight away. No, you don't do that to a 23-year-old kid, who's new to the club. He's already got the fans on his back. And in a way, Amorim has hung him out to dry, let's be honest, because Zirkzee was by no means the worst player on the pitch. He wasn't great, but he was no worse than Rasmus Højlund. And again, it's another player being made a scapegoat by these fans, you know. And again, I've been touching on this for time. Yeah, there's a running theme within this club that's been going on for years. Yeah, and I'm just gonna just call it what it is. And I've been saying it. People that know me will know what I'm gonna come out with. Yeah, there is a racial issue at this club. I don't care what anyone says. It's been going on. It's been going on for time. Yeah, how Zirkzee can come off before Højlund. Yeah, Højlund cost 72 million. Yeah, and for me, he's the worst striker in the league. He's poor. Yeah, how he can come off before Højlund, who's been putting in dreadful performance after performance, but yet he seems to be getting leeway by the fan base and at the moment by this manager. Yeah, and Zirkzee is the scapegoat, and the guy's been there barely 6 months. You know, barely any starts. He's got better numbers in the league than Rasmus Højlund, and he was bought for 34 million. You know, but he's not getting afforded the same allowances as someone like Højlund. And the reason that is, I mentioned to you guys in one of my previous streams, is the reason why Paul Pogba, Anthony Martial, Jadon Sancho, Fred, Eric Bailly, Andre Onana, Marcus Rashford now, even though these fans have finally opened their eyes, you know, that, you know, that Rashford's black, basically. Let's be honest, yeah? Then you get Kobe Mino now starting to get criticism. It won't be long before Ahmad gets it as well, yeah? There's a running theme in this club, yeah, that the black players are the scapegoats. Let's just call it what it is. You know, I've been saying this for time, yeah? Before I even had a platform, I noticed the issues already, yeah? It's the black players are always made the scapegoats. You know, don't get me wrong. Andre Onana, you know, hasn't been great. And he has had a decent season, but has but he has been making a few mistakes lately. Big up Nick, man. Appreciate that, Nick, for the like. He has been making some mistakes lately, but he's been on the end of criticism. Yeah, the black players in this club have always been made the scapegoats. You know, and again, this club is toxic. Let's be honest, because whether people like it or not, yeah, the best players at this club currently, yeah, the majority of the best players, the key players, are the black players, but they're always the ones that get made the scapegoats. And I, for one, are sick of this now, because I've been calling this out for time. You know, there is no way Joshua Zirkzee should be made a scapegoat after only being at the club barely 6 months. You know, the guy's barely had any starts. You know, when he was signed, he wasn't signed to be the main guy as such. You know, and someone like Rasmus Højlund, who's been given chance after chance, the guy's got 2 league goals, yeah, but yet you hear nothing about Rasmus Højlund, and no one can come and tell me that Rasmus Højlund is a better footballer than Joshua Zirkzee. And for me, if I'm Joshua Zirkzee, I'm getting the hell out of this club, because this club is poison. You know, how the likes of Bruno Fernandes, Rasmus Højlund, Garnacho, Luke Shaw, Mason Mount, they're not getting nowhere near as much criticism as what Zirkzee is getting now. And for him to get booed off the pitch after 30 minutes, again, shows the poisonous nature within this club, you know. And I would implore Joshua Zirkzee, you know, to keep his head up, because let's be honest with you, Joshua Zirkzee wasn't great, but he's been nowhere near as worse as a lot of these players, you know. And the problem is Ruben Amorim, who I do trust as a coach, as a manager, for me, he kind of played into the hands of these fans, because he would have known that the fans are getting onto Zirkzee, you know. And even if he wanted to take Zirkzee off, yeah, take him off at half time if you really wanted to do that. But to take him off at after 30 minutes, any player that's played football to a level will know if you're playing in front of a crowd and you'll get taken off in the first half, it usually means that the manager either got it wrong or the manager don't really rate you, you know. And I think for a young 23-year-old kid, for that to happen to him in front of 70,000 fans, I blame that on the manager. The manager should have seen sense and thought, you know what? He's not having a great game. Either I swap his position, or if I do want to take him off at half time. Yeah, where obviously you're in the tunnel and or you're in the changing rooms and there's not too much fans can get on the back of the player. But to do that at that moment in time, yeah, that's on the manager for me. You know, and the manager has the manager needs to have a good look at himself and think and look at himself and think he's got that one wrong there. You know, because personally, if I'm Joshua Zirkzee, I'm trying to get out there at January, because this fan base have already made up their mind. The majority of this fan base, but the majority of this fan base know fuck all about football. Let's be honest. Because how he's getting criticism so far at the moment is beyond me. But yet the likes of Rasmus Højlund, who went 16 games without a goal, yeah, there was no booing of him, you know, and we know why that is. Let's just call it what it is. I've been saying this for time. This club is poison, you know, and you get a lot of these ex-pundits, these ex-footballers who are pundits now. Let's see if they're going to come out and start saying the truth, you know, but they won't. It's down to people like myself who just recently got a platform to start talking the truth. And I, for one, have been aware as to what's been going on at this club for time. And until this changes at the club, this club is going to sink and go further down, because this fan base have been too busy trying to make certain players the mainstays of the team. And obviously it's come to fruition now that those players that they've been hailing are not good enough. You know, obviously people can talk about Ineos, talk about the Glazers. We know there's problems with the board. We know that they need to be spending money and buying in better players, and the players that they've signed to new contracts, and the players that they've bought in. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the playing squad and what Ruben Amorim has at his disposal. If I could see Amorim was playing players that I believe can get a better performance from, and to make the team play better, you wouldn't be hearing much from me. But the problem is continuously playing the wrong players. Whether it's in their contracts or whether there's outside influences, I don't know. But the fact of the facts are, the same players keep playing who are not good enough, and it's the same old players that keep getting made the scapegoats. I.e., Fred was a scapegoat for this club. I'm not saying Fred was a well beater, but Fred has his uses in the squad, and to think that Fred was let go, and the way Man United want to play now, Fred will be ideal for this system in that midfield with his pressing. Again, it's shocking, man. Let me see Nick's message. So, as an outsider, I don't know if my fault counts. I thought it was Ten Hag's fault, but after seeing Amorim couldn't be able to lift the team as well, now I think it's the players' fault. Nick, man, as I said, man, it's not even if you're an outsider, man. Everyone is free to have an opinion, you know, as long as it's respectful. But have your opinion, and yeah, I think what the problem is, Nick. Yeah, Ten Hag is at major fault, because the players that Ten Hag brought in, for the amount of money he brought them in, it's now going to be difficult to get rid of these players, and they're not good enough. You know, even someone like Lisandro Martinez, out of the players that was brought in, people were saying that was good. Lisandro Martinez is a liability, and he's someone, as along with a lot of the other players like your Garnachos, the Rashfords, the Brunos, they need to be, the Rasmus Højlunds, they need to be moved on. And Lisandro now falls into that category, because in a back three, as I said, Lisandro is not good in the wide areas, and aerially he'll get dominated. So if you haven't got the aerial ability, and you haven't got the pace to defend the wide areas, you're going to be found wanting. And he's not, and he for someone is a liability in the team, you know. So I blame Ten Hag, because the majority of the players that are playing are Ten Hag signings, you know. Again, I'm not interested in how much they were bought for, because again, that's just a failing on the club to do that. But they would have been identified by Ten Hag, you know. So he's left the manager now with players that are not good enough, that are not able to fit into the system that he wants to play. But my problem with Ruben Amorim is that he's not playing certain players in the correct positions, and he's not playing certain players. Again, my team would be, as I said yesterday on my match preview, would be Onana in goal, Lenny Yoro as the right centre back, Matthias de Ligt as the centre back, and then the left centre back. Even though I like balance to it, I like a left footer on there, but I would play Mazraoui. And in the midfield, once everyone's fit, I'd play Ugarte and Casemiro central midfield. Ugate's got the legs, Casemiro's got the experience, and if he's got someone like Ugarte next to him, you know, the pressure won't be on him, or or he won't get exposed as much because you've got someone like Ugarte who's a ball winner and he's quick along the grass. So that would help Casemiro a lot. And then the wing backs, I would play Anthony from the right. Again, he's a winger, and it would give the team an attacking impotence as well. And on the left, I'd play Tyrone Malacia, because Malacia would like to bomb up and down the flank, and he's also got defensive acumen as well that he can help out Mazraoui on that side. And in the 2 10s, I'd play Ahmad on the right, and Kobe Mine on the left, and Joshua Zirkzee the striker. That's the team that Amorim should have gone with, you know, for that game. And that's a team that I want to see Amorim play consistently, because we've seen the likes of Garnacho, Højlund, Bruno, Rashford. These guys have never been good enough, and they're not good enough. You know, Mason Mount, Luke Shaw, injury prone, not good enough. You know, Harry Maguire has been decent, but again, he's not good enough long term. So for me, the manager is making faults. He's making faults. You know, a lot of these players are not good enough, but he's the one that is picking these players. You know, and he's picking the wrong players. And to be honest with you, he hung out Joshua Zirkzee to dry. To be honest with you, he hung him out to dry, because there is no way Zirkzee should have come off after 30 minutes, no more than anyone else in that team, because Newcastle absolutely dominated the game, you know. And to be honest with you, like he's possibly killed Zirkzee's career at Man United now, and his confidence, because again, if I'm Joshua Zirkzee, and again, I don't want it to happen, but I'm getting out of the club after that's happened, because for the fan base to just boo him and cheer him off the pitch, you know, that's disgraceful, let's be honest. And the fact that it's not happened to other players who have been here longer and have been worse, it just shows you that there's a cultural and there's a racial problem at the club. And as I said, I've been calling this for years. And it's disappointing for me to see that Amorim has kind of fed into these fans' hands. You know what I mean? So, yeah, again, man, it's difficult, really. But yeah, it was a poor result yesterday, man. And to be honest with you, Newcastle thoroughly deserved the win. It should have been about 5. You know, I think Harry Maguire hit the post. Rasmus Højlund again. I'm hearing people say that Rasmus doesn't get chances. He got a chance, didn't even hit the target, put it wide. Yeah, so that myth can be put to bed, you know. But again, that's just certain channels trying to pop up a player that deep down they know ain't good enough, but yet they're trying to use excuses like he's young. You know, the guy cost 72 million. He's got the number 9 shirt on his back. This fan base was quick to get Anthony Martial at the club to put a 9 on Rasmus's back. And look at the performances this guy's putting in. And then people will say he's only 21, making excuses yet again. You know, Alexander Isak, as I said yesterday, the back three that was needed was a back three that could nullify his threat. And his threat is linking the play. His threat is drifting over to the left-hand side to pick up the ball and run. You know, Lenny Yoro, for me, would have had better chance dealing with him if he started the game, you know. And let's be honest with you, Alexander Isak at this moment in time is the best striker in the league. You know, he has everything to his game, let's be honest, you know, but he would have been nullified if this manager picked the right combination of defenders. But again, he's been very stubborn, and he's played the same back three that I feared he would play. You know, I knew De Ligt would come back in, but just played De Ligt in the center, you know, and just go with Yoro and Mazraoui, you know. And then again, him starting Zirkzee and Højlund together, he's messed himself up there, because he didn't work, but then now you haven't got that option from the bench, you know. So and obviously he was never going to bring on Rashford, you know. And as far as Rashford goes, I think Rashford for me is done at the club now, and he needs to move on for his own career. And United need to just, you know, cash in on him and obviously move on, because You know what I mean? He's been part of the problem. You know, he's not the sole problem, but he's been part of the issue for the team. But yeah, Amorim yesterday, to be fair, was a disgrace in my opinion for what he done to Zirkzee. You know, and he's clearly made Zirkzee the scapegoat, whether it was intentional or not. But just judging by, he could have got the gist from the crowd that they weren't happy with Zirkzee, but yet he compounds it by taking him off after 30 minutes. And it was your fault that he was playing that position in the first place, because he should never ever been playing there. You know, he should have been playing as a number 9 and then have Rasmus Højlund as the option from the bench. You know, so yeah, that's on Amorim. So Man United find themselves 14th place in the league as well. This is probably been as bad as I've seen it for United after supporting them for 30 plus years. This has been the worst I've seen, you know. And again, I done a lineup from the players that I will take going forward for this club. And again, Amad Diallo is one, Lenny Yoro is one, Matthias de Ligt is one, and the other one was Andre Onana in goal. You know, they're the 4 players that I would say, you know, I'll give chances to, because I've seen enough from them. I know Onana divides opinion, but for me, Onana is the least of the problems in terms of they spent 50 million on him, which some people obviously would say was the wrong move. But to go and spend another bit of money on another keeper, I think there's more pressing issues in the team than Onana. I think if Onana has a settled defense in front of him, you know, and he cuts out the mistakes, then, you know, you might get a better Onana. But for me, he's not the biggest of issues. The biggest of issues is the attacking line and the midfield, you know. So 14th position and Liverpool to come on Sunday, you know. I think if this game was at Old Trafford, you know, even though United have been poor at Old Trafford, it might have given a bit of confidence to the team. But for me personally, the fact that it's at Anfield, you know, Liverpool just dispatched 5 goals against West Ham away from home. They're going in front of their own crowd and they're up against their rivals. I dread to think what scoreline this is going to be. You know, I can see a 4-0 scoreline. A 4-0 scoreline. I can see that easily. You know, I can see Liverpool getting a couple of goals up in the first half, and then, you know, I reckon they'll really go for it as well, with that crowd behind them. So I dread to think what this scoreline is going to be, because yeah, it's not good, man. And again, I can't really trust Amorim's lineup, because obviously Ugarte and Bruno, they're going to come back into the team. But we already know that Bruno Fernandes ain't the answer, you know. And you get some of these fans saying United are a better team with Bruno in it because of his leadership. Bruno's not a leader. He's not. That armband should have gone to Casemiro. Yeah. People say Casemiro's checked out. I'm not surprised Casemiro's checked out, you know, because this is a guy that's come from excellence at Real Madrid. Yeah. And he's come to a United team where he's been managed, where he's been captained under Scott McTominay. You know what I mean? So the club have already shown him no respect. So I'm not surprised he's checked out, if I'm honest with you. And he's having to be captained by Bruno Fernandes, who has done nothing, nowhere near nothing in his career in comparison to Casemiro. Captained by Harry Maguire, captained by Lisandro Martinez. So can you blame someone like Casemiro being checked out? And obviously people will say, you know, but he's on this amount of money. Yeah, I understand that, but he's a human being at the end of the day as well, you know. And as a human being, he would have been checked out a long time ago, just like many other players, you know. But going forward, the lineup against Liverpool, I think the lineup he's going to play is very obvious, because this manager is very obvious. He's going to play Onana in goal. I think he'll play De Ligt and Maguire. I think the same back three. I think he probably plays. I don't think he's going to play. Lenny Yoro. I don't think against. I mean, I would, but I can see him playing the same back three. Or if there is one change, he might bring Lenny Yoro in and then drop Lisandro Martinez. He's going to play Ugarte and I think he played Ugarte and Kobe Mino in the midfield. I think he's going to do. And then he's going to play Ahmad. Ahmad and Bruno, I think he's going to play again as the inside 10s, and I think he'll go with Rasmus Højlund as a striker, and the wing backs. He probably just do the same again by playing Dalot and Mazraoui. I think he's going to play more of the same team that he played today. And again, if he plays that team, they're going to get destroyed. Like that's the truth. So yeah, it's frustrating, man. But yeah, Matt Tomley's having a good time. But again, Matt Tomley was never the answer, Nick. You know, and again, he should have been moved on years ago. But again, sentiment with this club is what's killed it for years. And yeah, Matt Tomley was never good enough for Man United. But again, this club has a habit of players coming through the youth, them just giving chance after chance to when they ain't good enough. And that's been seen with Garnacho, you know. Who else is there? That's been seen with many players. The only player that I would trust from the youth at the moment is Kobe Mino. And even that, Kobe Mino shouldn't even be a starter at Man United if Man United are being serious. But he's needed at the moment. But he's playing in the wrong position for me. He should be playing as the inside 10, you know. But yeah, you would say with the current form of both teams, yeah, Liverpool. As I said, I'm going for a Liverpool 4-0 scoreline. If it was at Old Trafford, I'd probably say Liverpool still win the game, but you're probably looking at a 2-0, you know, 3-0 at worst, I would say. But I think at home, with their fans behind them, Man United in the form they're in right now, and the form that Liverpool are in, and the 5 they put past West Ham, I'm going for a 4-0 scoreline, you know, and it could get worse. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to go for. But yeah, Amorim for me. I don't know where he goes from here. Can I see Amorim getting sacked? I honestly don't know, because you know, I just don't know what Ineos are actually thinking at the moment, because there's been talk about United not having no money to spend in January, which again is a joke, because United need to spend in January desperately, you know. And again, I don't know why would Amorim come in knowing that there's no money in January again. It's another problem. He was managing Sporting Lisbon in the Champions League, yeah, top of the Portuguese league as well, but he come to United with no assurances of spending money in January, which again is poor. So I don't really know, but one thing's for certain: this squad as a whole are poor. And the thing as well, I don't think it's too premature to talk about relegation, because me personally, I don't believe United will get relegated, because I look at the teams below United, especially in the bottom 3, and can I see them getting the amount of wins together, and United not getting an odd point here and there to keep them afloat? I can't see that happening really, but you know, you can never say never. And United are not too good to get relegated. Let's be honest, because this playing squad as a whole is bottom half playing squad, I would say. You know, but I think you got Crystal Palace and United in 14th. I think Crystal Palace are on 15th place at the moment, and I think if Palace win their next game and United got Liverpool, and you would assume they get beat, United drop into 15th place, and with Palace a point ahead, you know, and that's when it starts getting problems, because you've only got Everton, who are, I think, 3 or 4 points behind United as well, you know, and I think Everton are 16th, and then you got a few other teams. In the bottom 3 are about, I think, 6 or 7 points adrift of United, but again, the Liverpool game, I don't expect United to get anything from that game, and that's going to be another loss. And the games United got coming up, I don't even know if United win them games, like, because this team are struggling. Obviously, they're low on confidence. You know, they can't adapt to a new formation. A lot of these players just ain't good enough. You know, so there's problems. There's problems ahead, really. So I don't really know where Amorim goes from here. But what I would say before I wrap, this scapegoating of certain players, you know, has been going on for too long. And for United to get back to, you know, the top, this needs to stop, you know, and the scapegoating of certain players, that's my issue, you know. The certain players that are scapegoated, again, Paul Pogba, Anthony Martial, Jadon Sancho, Fred, Eric Bailly, now Marcus Rashford, Kobbie Mainoo, Joshua Zirkzee, you know. Obviously, Malacia has been out injured, so he doesn't really count, but he's been criticised as well. There's a running pattern there, a running pattern of what players are getting criticised, while the likes of the others, have got away with it for so long, you know. And until the United fan base get rid of this culture of that nonsense, you're gonna see some of the players that United should be targeting, that are good, that are black players. You know, if they've got any brains, they'll just say, no, I ain't coming there, because they can see what it is. Until this stops, I can see United plummeting and going further down the table, because if I'm Amad Diallo and his contract is coming up, I'm thinking twice, because I can tell you this for free. Yeah, it won't be long until Amad gets criticism as well. Yeah, he's probably the only player right now that is escaping criticism, but it won't be long before they turn on him as well, because me, just like many others, have said it won't be long before Kobbie Mainoo gets turned on, and it's happened. And this is someone that's come through the academy. Yeah, and I believe that it's going to happen to Amad as well, through no fault of Amad's own, because Amad is a top player, but he's just drowning in a team with poor players, underperforming players, and players just quite and simply ain't good enough, you know. So it's going to be interesting to see, man. But yeah, guys, man, I hope you like the stream. Save Nick for coming on. Don't forget to smash that like button. Subscribe to my channel at Gav Goes In. Guys, I'm just here to give my honest opinion. You know, I don't care if it offends people, because the truth needs to be said, you know. And I'm someone that, you know, I'm not going to shy away from the truth. You know, I'll have the uncomfortable conversations that people don't want to talk about. You know, I see a lot in the media. You see a lot with the likes of these Gary Nevilles on Sky Sports. They don't talk about the real issues. You know, Gary Neville come out saying that, you know, it's the players that were signed. It's their fault that as to why Man United are failing this season. More or less saying that it's the signings have been poor. You know, but doesn't want to talk about the Joshua Zirkzee and the racial issues at the club. You know, the fact likes that why Paul Pogba was criticised when he was there. You know, racial issues towards Pogba and Martial. Yeah, they don't want to talk about that, but I'm here to talk about things like that, because these are the kind of conversations that need to be had. You know, and as long as these conversations are shied away from, a lot more of these problems are going to keep coming about. You know, but yeah, as I said, guys, subscribe to my channel at Gav Goes In, smash that like button, and I'm going to catch you guys tomorrow. Going to be talking about the Liverpool game, and obviously the news within Man United, and see if there's any possibility of United trying to get someone in January, which looks unlikely from Amorim's comments yesterday. But yeah, it's frustrating, man. But the worst of it is that it's only going to get worse from now, you know, because I can see United getting beat comfortably at Liverpool, but I can see more results coming like this. And obviously, January's literally right around the corner, and United need to get some deals in. I don't know what the situation with the financial is saying, but I don't want to be hearing that. United need to try and get some deals in, and most importantly, get some players out. you know. That's what I'll be looking forward to, man. So yeah, we have to wait and see, man. But happy New Year, guys. You know, have a good New Year. Big up Nick as well. I said again for coming on, and yeah, man. I'll see you next year, Nick. As I said, yeah, I'll be back. Be back soon. Take it easy.